Hey everybody, we're here, you're here, we're all here, and we are ready for another show. Welcome to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. Thanks for being here. Just a little reminder, head on over to CanaryCry.Party. I would highly suggest everybody go join the newsletter. It's an easy sign up. We send you alerts before we go live, and within those alerts are resources like all of the sources to the articles we cover on this every episode, as well as the art, so you can take a look at the art, revisit it, send it to your friends, all that kind of fun stuff. So highly suggest, if you would, go to CanaryCry.Party, sign up for the newsletter. It's also the only way that you will hear from us once the deplatforming apocalypse ramps back up. So do that. Thank you very much. Couple other things to remember over there at CanaryCry.Party. You can connect with us on the social medias, but you can also connect to the Discord channel. I refreshed that invite link, so that should work for getting into the Discord channel, where there's a ton of Canarians having a wonderful time discussing not just the show, but just life and goings on, and praying for each other, fellowshipping. It's a great place to go. But you can also go to CanaryCry.Community. That's a URL too, folks. It's crazy. CanaryCry.Community, and that will take you to our social media thing. It's not Discord, it's not Facebook, it's nothing. It's sort of our white labeled social media. It's a wonderful time. So go do that. Get connected, folks. Okay, here we go. We're going to go. We're doing it. Stay hydrated and enjoy the show.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. We are live to tape today, June 15th, 2022. This is episode 497. And today, Frosty Technium. And signing on from off the grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, here to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ. Oh, thank the Lord for that, because everything else is falling apart. While reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events, live from California, we are back. I am severely sleep deprived. We'll talk about that a little later.
Oh, aren't kids the best?
Yeah.
Aren't kids the best, Gonz? They're also the best when you get to be a cool uncle and don't have to deal with the shrieking banshees in the middle of the night. Trying to sabotage your podcast the next day. But Gonz, are you ready for a rundown? I don't know if you know what's happening this episode, but let me educate you, Gonz.
Great.
First off, we're going to start off with some interesting updates regarding the Ukraine crisis and the Pope getting in on the action, as we knew he would. Then we're going to be checking in sort of a Ukraine crisis adjacent Flippy update, where the robot arms are stationing themselves at strategic points on NATO territory. Bill Gates has a little update for us, and then we're going to be moving into some politics and PSYOP analysis, which is going to be very important as we move not just into the political future, but the economic one as well. Then we're going to take a little break and get into some COVID news, but that's not the highlight. We've got some very interesting monkeypox news, which, oh man, you Canary Cry listeners, you knew exactly what was going to happen. And sometimes it's just nice to be reminded that listening to this show is a value. And then, of course, at the end of the show, checking in with Antarctica and an AI social engineering milestone. But first, Gonz, let's start with these lead stories.
fight for Ukraine. New world order.
Russia.
Oh, yeah. You know, we don't talk about a topic for a few days and then, stockpiles, and then we got some things to cover.
Yeah. Nice how that works.
Breaking today, this morning, CNBC.com, Biden to send another $1 billion in military aid to Ukraine. Hey, how about you send $1 billion to Alex Mashinsky over there at Celsius, and then we can get our money out. But that'd be a better use of the money.
You can't let that flavor everything, my man. But yes, the extra $1 billion, you love it. It's like as if the $56 billion or whatever wasn't enough. We just got to throw in. It's like a tip,
44 billion, or no, it was 33, and then it was 40, and then it was 44, and then just an extra. Hey, it's another $1 billion.
56 in total, now 57. It's wonderful.
Oh my gosh, great! And all the staging leading up to it with Zelensky. And it says here, President Joe Biden announced another $1 billion in weapons for Ukraine on Wednesday, including anti-ship systems, artillery, rockets, and rounds of howitzers. Quote,
Big guns. This
morning, I spoke with President Zelensky to discuss Russia's brutal and ongoing war against Ukraine. I reaffirm my commitment that the United States will stand by Ukraine as it defends its democracy and support its sovereignty and territorial integrity in the face of unprovoked Russian aggression.
Yeah, nothing about NATO, nothing about provoking, nothing about nothing. Just good old Biden speak.
He spoke to Zelensky for 40 minutes. Wow. So a lot can happen in 40 minutes.
Long call.
Hey, for Zelensky, 40 minutes for $1 billion is a pretty good deal. I'll get on a phone for 40 minutes to get a $1 billion front there. The Pentagon
knows how to close. ABCs always be closing, Zelensky.
Yeah, exactly. The Pentagon said that the latest tranche of weapons for Ukraine is valued at $350 million, including 18 155 millimeter howitzers, 36,000 rounds of 155 millimeter ammunition, 18 tactical vehicles to tow 155 millimeter howitzers, ammunition for high mobility artillery rocket systems or HMARS, as well as 4 tactical vehicles to recover equipment and spare parts.
Gotta get those TAC vehicles, man.
The Pentagon will also provide 2 Harpoon coastal defense systems, thousands of secure radios, night vision, and thermal devices, as well as funding for training and maintenance support. That aid is collectively valued at $650 million. Man, where's all the rest of the money? And so far, it's what, $350 million, $650 million? Is that the $1 billion?
Yeah, we're getting there.
This is the $1 billion. Is going to include all this stuff. Great. Well, there you go. That's the latest. But some of the narratives leading up to today has been, we'll give you more rockets as long as you don't, shoot them into Russia. And then, Ukraine saying, we promise we won't shoot Russia with missiles.
And then literally turned around and said, okay, we're just kidding. We're going to shoot Russia with these missiles. And Putin saying, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are coming. And we had a little update on that, Gonz. So I'm going to head over. I'll start this one at thesun.com, and we'll take a look at some of the other outlets reporting this. And there's some things to kind of comment on. This is coming from thesun.com. Zell hits back. Zell, Gonz. This is the new thing. We don't write out Zelensky. Now it's Zell. He has like a hip, cool gamer tag. Zell hits back. Ukraine hits back with missile strike on military base inside Russian territory. The one thing that we had him promise not to do because it would specifically cause a nuclear war, he just goes ahead and does it. So this is the roundup, folks, the roundup of what we've been following for a few episodes now. Again, Gonz laid out that timeline. Biden said, we won't give you the big rockets. And next day he said, okay, we'll give you the big rockets. Just promise not to hit Russia. And Zell says, okay, we won't hit Russia. Next day, okay, we're going to hit Russia. Then Putin says, you hit Russia, we hit you. We hit the Western decision-making places. And then they just do it. They just go ahead launched the missiles into Russia, hitting a military base. Here's the story. A Ukrainian missile strike blasted a military base inside Russian territory yesterday. The target in western Bryansk province was hit with what was thought to have been a Tochka-U missile. Mad Vlad's official claim. I love this, son. You got to love these UK rags, man. Mad Vlad's officials claim the strike had hit homes in the village of Zainuzh, around 30 miles inside Russia, in early morning blitz, which left up to 4 people injured and caused a power blackout. The attack came as Russia tightened its grip on Severodonetsk. Russian troops now control 80% of the city in eastern Ukraine. Officials said the city's 3 bridges across the Seversky Donets River had been destroyed, and Ukrainian troops were almost cut off. British fighter Jordan Gatley was shot and killed in Severodonetsk last week. It came as Kyiv appealed for heavy weapons to turn the tide against tyrant Russian President Vladimir Putin. And it goes on. Western defense ministers are due to meet in Brussels to discuss more aid. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has a shopping list that includes 1,000 heavy artillery howitzers, 300 multiple launch rocket systems, 500 tanks, 2,000 armored vehicles, and 1,000 drones.
It's like
quite the shopping list. I love that he has a shopping list.
We can make a song out of it.
Yeah, 1,000 howitzer somethings, 40 big missile guys, 1,000 drones. Now, the Daily Mail also had a report on this. This was the first one that we saw, and it says similar things, but let me get into it here. The headline, Ukraine strikes back. Kyiv blasts military base 40 miles inside Russian border in early morning rocket attack. Ukraine is thought to have struck a military base 40 miles inside Russia in an early morning missile attack. Footage showed what appeared to be a missile trail in the sky over the town of Klinsky early Tuesday, accompanied by a plume of smoke rising from a nearby base. Troops and helicopters, everything's slowing down here. Troops and helicopters then arrived to inspect what appeared to be a bomb crater, as local Telegram channels reported a fire spreading to nearby apartment blocks. Quote, I was driving to work. There was a rocket takeoff, after which they called me and said there was an explosion in Klinsky, said a man who took a picture of the missile trace. Quote, the time between takeoff and the call was 3 minutes. Okay, so there's just a man who is the source for a sort of random missile trail picture, and who is calling him, we don't know. Why? What? Like what? The details are not there. Russian military helicopters were flying over the site in Klinsky, Bryansk region, the reported strike. There were claims a woman was wounded in the hit with her leg torn off. Eyewitnesses posted a video with a crater allegedly from a hit by Ukrainian ammunition near Klinsky. According to the preliminary information, the wreckage indicates that it was a Tochka-U missile. There were reports of electricity and water supplies being cut off after the strike. On Saturday, there were reports of a strike or sabotage attack at a military unit near Klinsky. Military equipment under report from the Russian war campaign was reportedly damaged. There's some more pictures there. So here's the thing. The only outlets really, as of this morning, reporting this type of story were the Daily Mail and The Sun. Admittedly, both of them not necessarily the most credible, outlets, and both of them having a significant lack of, real journalistic value in the story. I mean, integrity is different. I don't think they're lying here, but there's just not a whole lot of value. No credible sources.
If there isn't value, then what's the purpose?
Well, that's a really good question, and I have a response to that. But let me say, it also sort of seems like these two reports from The Sun and the DailyMail.co.uk are they seem to be discussing different happenings, two different events. which, is one thing for the Ukraine to have one missile strike within Russia using U.S. Provided weapons, but to have two of them there's just something about it. Now, we have not seen a response from Russia, which is strange because their threat to, basically start a nuclear war if this exact thing happened was very clear and very reported on quite a bit. But the lack of response is very interesting here. There is a very good chance, just to say it straight up, that this is, basically just propaganda, Telegram, social media rumors mixed with, some sort of strange explosion and or false flag event or attempt from Russia to give justification to, I don't know, elevate the situation, increase the temperature.
They both say that they're military bases, but you're saying that this is two different military bases, or are you saying that it's the same place, but they just report it differently? They talk about two different places. One of them is talking about Bryansk region. Right?
Yeah, sorry. Let me go through this again. Does it mention Bryansk in the UK? Yeah, okay. Klinsky in Bryansk region. And the Sun also mentions Bryansk, but it's spelled differently, which is weird. It's just weird, man. It's just weird. They may be talking about the same. I guess the point I was trying to get across was they may be reporting on the same event, but the details between the two articles are different.
Right. Like the memo doesn't match.
Right. One is 30 miles, one is 40 miles. One is Bryansk with the I, the other's Bryansk with a Y. They, leave out if indeed the pictures and videos from the Telegram channel are legit. The DailyMail uses them, but the Sun doesn't bother using them. Which could be sort of a rag style purchase.
Right. And even the pictures themselves, okay, they don't look, if this is like, this is a military, it doesn't have that feel. It has that feel of, we're burning down the shed and we're going to sell it to Daily Mail and say it was a Ukrainian rocket that hit us or something,
Even pictures of the crater are kind of weak.
The whole thing is like, okay, there's some fire in the foresty area. And
and the rest of, the rest of the mainstream outlets, nobody's mentioning it. Now, in the sort of mainstream ecosphere, of course, having strong influence from the propaganda departments of the United States, it's very possible that they are suppressing the information of the attack because it makes Zell look bad, and it also raises the temperature of the situation. They don't want the American people or European people or the global community to panic and think this was the trigger that's going to start the nuclear war. That's all possible. It's also possible that the Sun and the Daily Mail just sort of were sent these stories from an anonymous source or whatever. Could be Russian disinformation. The fact of the matter is we just don't exactly know. The fact that a nuclear missile has not been launched from Russia is a good sign that perhaps this isn't exactly how it's being described. But at the same time, there's all sorts of closed door situations that could be going on right now. Including from the Pope.
Space Pope Reptilian.
Man, been a while since we heard that jingle.
Yeah, this is dailymail.co.uk once again. And the headline here is, well, of course, they have the long headlines. World War III has been declared.
Oh, wow. This was much more intense than the one I saw.
Pope Francis says global conflict has started and suggests war in Ukraine was, quote, perhaps in some way provoked.
Oh, where have you been, Pope? Oh, what an insightful man he is. Did the Lord tell you that? Did he come down from on high and tell you perhaps that this has all been provoked?
I mean, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to suggest that perhaps this whole conflict was provoked.
I mean, yeah, you just literally have to look at the events and the attitudes of the leaders involved that, yeah, this was a little bit provoked, Pope Francis.
And continuing the headline here. So, yeah, perhaps in some ways provoked, end quote, as he denies being pro-Putin and slams cruel Russian troops. Those mean Russian troops. Let's not talk about mean Ukrainian troops, though, because that doesn't exist.
You know what's fun? Just to mention, we are taking this from DailyMail. We maybe should have grabbed it from a different outlet, but this is everywhere. This is not like the other article. I mean, CNN reports Ukraine war, quote, perhaps in some way either provoked or not prevented, says Pope Francis. So this one is everywhere.
Yeah. Pope Francis said World War III has been declared and suggests Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine was provoked, while also taking a new series of swipes at Russia's actions. A transcript of a conversation he had last month has revealed. What was last month? The leader of the Catholic Church denied being pro-Putin, saying Russian troops were brutal, cruel, and ferocious. That could be a positive thing, depending on the kind of person you are.
Yeah, depending on if you want to win a war or not.
Serious. While praising the bravery of Ukrainian soldiers who have been fighting for their country's survival since the invasion began in February. He also decried Russia's monstrous use of mercenaries from Chechnya and Syria, which have been drafted in by the Kremlin to bolster its faltering war efforts, and criticized the global arms trade. Don't
exactly. The Pope he's saying exactly what we've been saying, which is that this is a military-industrial complex sales job. The whole war is.
I mean, he is also citing the people that are with him on this global sort of institutional stage are the people doing the arms deal.
Exactly.
So great lip service there, Pope, but you're buddy with all these people.
And even here's another quote from the thing.
Yeah.
I'm taking this from the CNN article. Okay. This is, quote, but the danger is that we only see this, just meaning what we see in the news. We only see this, which is monstrous, and we do not see the whole drama that is unfolding behind this war, which was perhaps in some way either provoked or not prevented.
Sorry, I have to take care of the family for a moment, so I'm going to leave you with this for a second.
I'll keep going here.
Back.
Right. And the quote continues, and I register an interest in testing and selling weapons. It is very sad, but basically this is what is at stake, he said. I mean, this is incredible. The Pope just straight up coming out and saying, there's a bunch of stuff going on in the background that y'all don't know about, and it's not about what it's being described as on the news. And there's the language of, and I register an interest in testing and selling weapons. It is very sad, but basically this is what is at stake. You got the Pope straight up coming out and saying what we've been saying for a while, which is, this is a military-industrial complex sales job. The entire conflict was provoked precisely for the reason of creating economic movement in the arms industry. And if you remember back in August of 21, when Biden was pulling out of Afghanistan, we said on this show, look, this is actually not that great because the United States and the sort of shadowy powers that are more in control than any politician can be. Those are the businessmen. Those are the arms dealers. These are the, the war machine. The war machine of the United States, the thing that drives everything, is the military-industrial complex, which requires that the U.S. be in constant conflict. And pulling out of Afghanistan was not some brave, noble act of American benevolence on the part of the Biden administration. It was simply a shift from the Middle East market to the Eastern European market. And remember, the whole rundown of the aid that is being sent to Ukraine is not brand new shiny weapons straight from the factory. This is a liquidation project for the United States military, where we are sending them, kind of all of our old dusty equipment. We're sending them the stuff that's been sitting around, or perhaps, you got to remember, in Afghanistan, we left billions of dollars worth of equipment on the ground, just keys in the ignition for whoever can sweep in. I think, I don't have the number right in front of me. It was something like $10 billion worth of arms and military equipment were just left on the ground in Afghanistan. Boom.
I'm back.
That's $10 billion that needs to be replaced by the U.S. military. So that's $10 billion injection of your tax dollars, if you're American, into the military-industrial complex. Now, with the Ukraine situation, this $40 billion, 33, then to 40, then to $56 billion worth of aid, most of it in weapons, is not necessarily brand new shiny guns from the factory. This is old U.S. dusty military equipment that we are sending over there. There's been reports and stories about how the Javelin missile systems, their batteries are corroded and some of them aren't working. And, the purpose of this is to clear out the United States stocks so we can go ahead and purchase the new shiny toys. And the Pope is just straight up coming out and saying it. This was provoked. It was not prevented. And there's a main interest in testing and selling weapons. It's very sad, but basically this is what is at stake, he said. So it's not even a matter of hiding what's going on. And the mainstream, it requires the brainwashing, if I do say such a flagrantly provocative thing. It requires the brainwashing of the American people to not realize, hey, Oh, I see what's going on here. It's not that Zelensky's necessarily some sort of superhero, or that Putin was unprovoked and is just on some world-dominating campaign. No, this was designed and orchestrated perfectly to refresh the U.S. military-industrial complex, which the stage was set starting back in August when we pulled out of Afghanistan. And, we got a lot of things to say about the Pope, but him coming out and straight up saying this type of thing, there has got to be some play after this, unless he's just totally gone rogue, but that does not sound like him.
Yeah. Did you get to the Sputnik thing there?
The last one? No. I was saving that.
So this is Sputnik carrying water for Putin. SputnikNews.com, and their reporting of this, the headline, Shilling for the Devil. Media explodes as Pope admits NATO provoked Russia.
Oh.
Yeah.
Media explodes.
Last month, mainstream corporate outlets accused the pontiff of dabbling in conspiracy theory after he noted...
look at that. Yeah. So if the Pope suddenly starts saying something that's true, it's malinformation, conspiracy. Is the Pope a right-wing extremist, white supremacist terrorist now?
I don't know, but he might, maybe Elon got to him. Conspiracy theories accused him of dabbling in conspiracy theories after he noted it was, quote, others who created the conflict. Mm-hmm. It was them, and that NATO had provoked Russia's military operations in Ukraine by barking at Russia's door.
Weird. Wow, he just says the truth and gets called a conspiracy theorist. Even the Pope is not immune from this, Gonz.
Mm-hmm. Prominent anti-Russian media personalities exploded on Monday. I'm just picturing people combust.
Literally exploding.
Literally explode. Comparing Pope Francis to a dog and accusing him of parroting Putin's talking points. after the Holy Father suggested in a newly published interview in Vatican News that the West provoked the special military operation being waged by Russia and Ukraine. And a lot of it's the same information. It's just funny how it would in Russia, there's a whole reaction to it as well.
There's an interesting layer to this. Of course, this is Sputnik News, which is, I don't know if it's necessarily state media, but of course it's pro-Russia.
Yeah, pro-Russia.
And we've been following the religious war aspect of this, where, of course, Russia, being predominantly Eastern Orthodox, the Eastern Orthodox Church is an aspect of the control mechanisms, the political alliances. Putin very much sort of presents himself as a pious Eastern Orthodox Christian. They had the sinking of the Moskva ship, which, an artifact, a piece of the cross was lost.
Of the cross that Jesus hung on, sunk in the ocean. Those Ukrainians, NATO, destroying religion.
It's been sort of set up as the secular, hedonistic West, waging a war on the pious Christian East. Yeah. And now Eastern Orthodox and the Catholic Church have traditionally been somewhat at odds with one another, not necessarily in too much of a hateful way on sort of a broader scale. However, that does definitely exist. But the combativeness between the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church is notable, and especially notable in this conflict. And especially notable in this conflict because Joe Biden, being only the second, sort of devout Catholic president that we've ever had. So to have the Pope, who, for all intents and purposes, would be Joe Biden's spiritual leader, coming out and sort of giving away the gravy on this whole thing, really ignites a strange twist in the religious war framing of this, where, now it's not just the West and Catholicism against Eastern Orthodoxy, but it's a rogue Catholic heretic, Joe Biden, being, and when you compare, so for instance, with the 2000s, especially the early 2000s, sort of juxtaposition of the Christian West being attacked by the Islamic Middle East, and the setup of that as jihad or holy war or religious war. And then in the sort of later aughts and into the early 2010s, there was a big social movement for, the terrorists they're not regular Islamists, or however, Muslims, I guess. They are sort of radical. They're radical. They have a perverse version of Islam. They, whether the facts of this line up or not, this is what the narrative discussed. And we have a similar setup here where once Biden was considered a sort of pious Catholic, he's sort of playing the role as the radicalized Catholic who does not line up with official Catholic stance, which is basically whatever the Pope says. So placing in opposition the Catholic President of the United States and the Pope himself really does mirror the sort of social engineering strategy of the, early 2000s, 9/11, Islam versus Christianity. I mean, it's the same playbook, but it is interesting that the U.S. is on the other side of it right now.
I would be, maybe they're planning Joe to take over Pope Francis and become the next Pope, and then and then Michelle Obama will take over the presidency in the White House.
And that's
then the
not a bad
takeover
idea.
Will be complete.
The DNC should give us a call.
Democrats, listen, Democrats, you wanna keep your claws in this globalism. You appoint Joe Biden to Space Pope Reptilian.
Now, here's a question for you, Gonz. the headline has a quotation marks around shilling for the devil,
Yeah.
which is hilarious. Of course, calling the Pope a conspiracy theorist. The word shilling, of course, a common conspiracy theorist's phrase. Shilling for the devil. You've got a very interesting sort of, I don't know, globalist, satanic cabal feel there. Who is this quoting? Who said shilling for the devil?
It's one of the media people. So hold on, let me find the.
See if we can find it in the article, because I want to know who said this. Was this a Russian person who said this, or was this a Western person?
Okay, so this is well, it's not really populating it for me. Okay, so it's this Luis Mensch. It's in the tweet.
Oh, it's the tweet.
Yeah,
Okay,
it says, "We are NATO. We will expand our defense alliance as we wish at Pontifex. Your ego has consumed you. You are shilling for the devil. Maybe you should consider that the Holy See is completely surrounded by NATO on all sides, yet is still standing. Repent and believe in the gospel." Whoa, dude. Talk about religious propaganda, divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Whoa. That is.
Who is this Louise Mensch person?
She's got to be. So she's got.
I cannot find this tweet. Did you have to click on a link to go to the tweet?
No. Let me just pull up the tweet here. Yeah, my computer's going to explode because I'm carrying water for Putin by clicking on Russian links.
Yeah,
but, whatever. This is what we do for you people. Come on, Twitter, load up. Give Elon the keys and make this thing run faster.
Elon, fire this thing up, man.
This is slow here. What are we?
There's another tweet from this Louise Mensch person. You, Pontifex, are excusing Hitler. You are excusing Hitler. You, the head of the church, are excusing Nazis. You have disgusted
Basil.
an entire continent. The damage is irreparable. You should resign as Pope and allow a man of God to take over the Holy See. May God forgive your wild narcissism.
Dude, this quote for this tweet, her bio. So this is Louise Mensch.
Blue check mark, by the way.
Blue check mark, got the
Louise
American flag.
Mensch, American flag, Ukrainian flag, blue check mark.
And in her description, it says, unhinged British witch, a textbook succubus, Russian insider, reverse Cassandra on Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Unhinged British witch, quote, a textbook succubus. Oh, Russian Insider. Is Russian Insider, is that an actual outlet, or is she just sort of...
I don't know. But it's weird that she's like, I'm a witch.
Well, these are in quotes.
I know.
So this Russian Insider, she's sort of claiming the hilarious...
Is she doing it tongue-in-cheek? Is she like, she's saying, oh, this is what I've been called by Russian insiders because...
That's what she's saying,
I think that's what it is. I think it's sort of a... Yeah, it's a tongue-in-cheek, kind of thrown back at the Russian media, maybe that quoted her in the past or something like that. Right. This is Sputnik quoting her again. You know? So
she's at war with Russian media, obviously.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Just more. Anytime there's mention of witches, so she's probably not a witch, but she's.
Well, who knows?
Well, you never know. I guess,
that is bizarre, though. That is really bizarre. You gotta love Sputnik News, man.
Gotta love Russian propaganda.
Well, there you go. Shilling for the devil, folks. I think the framing of this as a religious war is really one of its main characteristics that is being ignored significantly by the mainstream media, and I think it's a really important one because it helps you understand the fervor and some of the, I don't know, just the wild sort of out of your mind attitudes towards the thing. And it's very useful. It's very useful. The United States has a long, successful history of using religion to justify all sorts of things. We saw it we've seen it for pretty much its entire history. So it's a very effective strategy.
Hey guys, you know what day it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the CanaryCry News Talk. Yeehaw!
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
That's right. It is Wednesday, in case you missed it, folks. So we're having a good time around here. Just a quick heads up for everybody. We do have a hard out today. So we'll be zooming through certain parts of the show, probably including this update section. And we will be being very efficient during the breaks. So if you're one of those people who doesn't quite like the breaks because you don't like being confronted with the fact that, people are supporting the show and you're not, hey, look, I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying this is the show for you. So, Gonz, you told us you're so tired and things were so sad. Do you have any other updates that you want to give us before we move on?
Again, tired. The sun woke up at about 1 a.m., did not fall back asleep till about 3:34 was when he really went back down.
Doofa.
It's a good chunk of the night.
Yeah.
And then my older daughter came home, staying with us for a couple nights. She's a couple pet ducks. So we got a couple ducks in the garage.
Wait, who? Your daughter has pet ducks?
Yes.
How many?
2. And she's named them Teriyaki and Noodles.
Sounds delicious.
And yes, all I can think of was that one time I had like fried duck, and I was like, ooh, what would go good on that is teriyaki. So I don't know why you would name that. But so yeah, I got ducks in the garage, babies waking up in the middle of the night, but I'm here. So I am.
You're a brave soldier. And we appreciate you pushing through there, Gonz.
I'm grateful and thankful to God that I have breath in me still. Really, you get other stuff stripped down. You just the bare bones. You got to appreciate the bare basics.
That's right. Back to basics.
That's what I'm trying to do. What about you, Basil?
No, you're doing a great job. I don't have any important updates, so I'm going to go ahead and say thank you to our executive producers, Gonz.
Whoa, real quick, fast.
I know. We're crazy.
Yep.
Executive producers.
That's right, folks. We're on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever. No advertisements, no affiliate codes, no platform partnerships, no nothing. We are entirely supported by listeners of the show who realize that they get value, if indeed they get value out of the show. And the only way to keep the show going is if value is put back into the system. Indeed, it is called the value for value system. And participation in that system is not just keeping this system or this program independent from, other systems, mainly the beast system, but also the system of corporate incentives that uses money to control information flow. Just going to say it frankly there. And the people who support the show, they are called producers because that's what they are. This is not a gimmick, not a fun quirky title. People who pay or lend their talents to the show, they're producers of the show, just like the real world. And we have one executive producer today that we want to thank, and that is executive producer Sir Redbeard, Pirate King of the D-Moochers.
Thank
you very much.
There it is.
There it is.
Yes.
Yeah, Sir Redbeard, thank you so much. Of course, he's Sir Redbeard because he's an honored member of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. You can learn about that more later. But Sir Redbeard, thank you so much for coming in, making this show possible, carrying a heavy load during such an unstable time financially for so many people. And just like Sir Redbeard, Pirate King of the D-Moochers, if you're out there and you get value from this show, and you are maybe not as affected by some of the instability in the world. Of course, we're all affected, but if you're not as affected as others, you have a beautiful opportunity to come in, executive produce the show, and make the show possible for everybody. Remember, producing is not just for Gonz and I. It's for every listener of this show, tens of thousands, possibly even more, around the world. Remember, thank these executive producers if you can, but if nothing else, thank God for them, because they keep the show. They carry a heavy load when it comes to keeping the show going. So one more time, thank you, executive producer Sir Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers. And there's still time to become a producer of the show today. If you'd like to join, oh my gosh, Gonz. I just did a quick little checkarooski. We do have another executive producer.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Coming in.
This is executive producer. Let me make sure that there's not a special name to use. Nope. This is executive producer Felicia D.
Felicia D. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you very much. Executive producer Felicia D. Everything, all the praise that I loaded upon Sir Redbeard, please know that it applies to you as well. Executive producer Felicia D. All right. Yeah. So
where'd you find this?
That's good.
The response time is still a little laggy here. But
there's still time, folks, to produce the show, and you can do so by heading on over to CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
There you go. All right, and it's time to check in with our good friend Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Keeping the theme geographically here, Gonz. Here's the thing, folks. Flippy is the colloquial name we have for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, the Flippy update is coming from thefirstnews.com. None of this second news around here. We're going straight to the source. The first news. The headline is Poland introduces pioneering, in quotes, hot dog making robot. Woo! Poland's largest retail grocery chain has gone where no others have gone before by introducing the country's first hot dog making robot. The brainchild of convenience store chain Zabka and Krakow tech firm Velox Alpha SA, the one-armed sausage server called Robbie can complete the task in 3 simple steps. You want to know what the 3 simple steps of making a hot dog is? TFNs, that's the first news. Monica Zelensky.
Huh?
Monica Zelensky.
Whoa, that's like Monica Lewinsky and
Vladimir Zelensky.
Yeah.
Whoa. Who popped in for a lunchtime snack, said, quote, the process of ordering the hot dog was quite simple. You click start on a touchscreen menu and select from 2 hot dog sizes, 2 hot dog types, and 6 different sauces. Quote, you can order up to 3 hot dogs in one order. Go through the ordering process. The robot starts making the hot dog. Whoa.
By the way, the picture they have here of the hot dog robot arm holding a piece like a bun.
Yes.
The bun has like a hole.
This is Euro style.
Is that a Euro style hot dog?
This is Euro style hot dogs. Yes.
So it's more
in
like
the U.S. Yeah, this is a nice international lesson for everybody. In the U.S., we have a bun that is split down the middle.
Yes.
Folds like a clam type of thing. You put the hot dog in there. Most of Europe, the places I've had hot dogs overseas, they take like a what is it called? Like a baguette type of thing.
It's like they put a pipe through it or something.
Yeah, they hollow out the middle and they put the hot dog inside. Honestly, I think it's maybe a bit more of an advanced way to do it. I'm just going to say it. Look, I love America.
Yeah, where are you going to put the relish and the onions and
that's what
the
I was gonna
cheese
say.
and all that, man? Come on.
The American-style split bun allows for significantly higher customization and slathering on of condiments.
Yes.
Which, Americans love condiments. If there's one thing to know about Americans, we love sauces. Not a whole lot of sauces being used in overseas hot
Are they
dogs.
just dipping it in like mustard or something? That's what I'm assuming over there.
Dipping. Well, I'll let you know right now because Monica Zelinsky gives us an incredibly detailed account of how this works.
Tell us.
She continued, quote, "First, the robotic arm pulls a bun out of a closed drawer compartment and puts it on a hot grill to heat and toast it. Then it takes out the bun and slips it under a tube that squirts in your condiments of choice." Sounds delicious. Next, the robot places the bun on a little metal bed and carefully slides the hot dog into it. The arm uses suctions to pick up a paper sleeve for the hot dog and slips it onto the bun. Quote, "Lastly, the robot picks the hot dog up and places it into a stand-up tray where it lowers and the door slides open when the whole process is finished so you can safely take it out. No danger to this hot dog, Gonz. You can safely receive your hot dog." So there's your step-by-step. You got
great. Yeah.
I think somebody had like a word count goal they needed to hit.
Yeah, they needed to get into every detail. They stretch out the
full block quotes of how a hot dog is made. She added, quote, "So if you prefer self-service, this is something for you, especially since the robot has different language options. So you don't have to stress about asking for the wrong condiment." Oh, don't want to stress about asking for the wrong condiment, Gonz. Thank God these robots are solving all of the world's toughest problems.
Now, this robot is being implemented in a pretty big chain out there in Poland, right? The gas station?
Yeah. So there's the grocery outlet that is a pretty big grocery outlet over there. It's called, what is it? Zabka. Convenience store chain Zabka in Krakow. And it says down here later, boop, 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 scrolling, the fuel giant Orlen is also moving towards automation with a mobile phone app that will improve and streamline the preparation of hot dogs at its petrol station. So this is actually a different outlet. Sorry, this is a gas station that has an app that you can grill your hot dogs with. But
now,
this convenience store chain is quite big. Positioning. Now you got to remember, folks, Poland, NATO territory,
right?
Shares a border with Russia.
Yes,
Poland and Russia, very contentious relationship, especially at such a time as this. And now Flippy, the most diabolical of robots, sneaking into our hearts and our lives by preparing hamburgers or hot dogs in this case. I think we have a very strategic robot army of Flippies, or Robbies in this case, being positioned along the NATO border with Russia, just in case some sort of robot apocalypse action needs to take place.
Okay, so it could go one of two ways. There's multiple ways, but in my mind, there's one of two ways. One is Poland does get hit. They're one of the collateral damage locations when Putin starts to, apocalypse nuke everybody in NATO. Yeah. And therefore, we need the robot arms to help feed and ration out the food that's remaining for the locals there. You're not going to trust humans; they're going to steal. So make sure the robot's the one hanging. That's one scenario, right? The other scenario is are there pipelines going through Poland?
There has to be.
There has to be, right?
Yeah.
So this is Putin going, take care of my when people come to buy my product, give him a hot dog with the robot arm.
Give him a hot dog,
and then I won't blow up your country.
I think these are sleeper agents. These are Flippy robotic warfare sleeper agents being positioned in a very.
From who though? Who's?
I think NATO.
You think?
I think this is NATO.
This is a NATO move. Okay.
They're like, if we started putting more missile systems in Poland, then Putin would get suspicious. I think putting these deadly robotic arms all along the NATO border with Russia is a militarily strategic move. All it takes is pressing one big red button, and all these Flippy arms come to life and either defend NATO or invade Russia.
Yeah, and you can just tell Putin ahead of time, if you take over the robot arms, we can press a button and it will distribute poisonous sausages to all your Russian troops.
You thought these Ukrainian soldiers were the bravest, most heroic soldiers on the Eastern Front there.
It is Robbie.
You just wait till Robbie, the robotic arm, comes alive. And soon we'll be sending, Poland billions of dollars of robotic arms, allegedly to serve
fight
hot
Putin
dogs.
to fight Putin in Russia.
Yeah, right. So there you go. There's your Flippy update.
1133. Uploading binary code. Execute order 666. Infiltrate humans with extreme kindness. Then exterminate all humans with prejudice. Exterminate.
Go to CanaryCry.Party. Put it in your URL. There you will find the live stream. You'll find the clips channel, email lists, text notifications, street team posters, show notes, and ways to connect with other Canarians and become a producer.
That's right. Head on over to CanaryCry.Party for all sorts of excellent resources, not just, because you are being asked to, but there's all sorts of stuff there to explore and improve your life. Beginning with getting text message notifications. There's a couple ways to do that. You can either text the word Canary to the phone number 877-740-3226. That's Canary to 877-740-3226, and you will be put on our text message alert system, so you'll never miss a show. Never again shall YouTube or Twitch or whoever stop you from getting the truth by not sending you a notification. You can get one straight from us. You can do that also over at CanaryCry.Party up there at the top. You should also join our newsletter, which is very important. We also send out all of our sources. Every source that we use on the show gets sent to you before every show, so you can follow along or save it for later, as well as the art, so you can check out the art, especially for those of you who just listen to the audio podcast version. That's a great way to get the art. But you can also listen to Ravel. Ravel is a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates. We explore, society, scripture, and scandal, having tough conversations in good faith. And the episode that is out now, which I highly recommend everybody listen to, is with John Lennox. He's a mathematician and an apologist, a pretty big-time fella. And we were so grateful to the Universe Next Door podcast to let us commandeer an interview.
Hijack! You hijacked it. Just tell the truth.
It was a gift, a beautiful gift from our friend Nick Shalna over there. And Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates was able to sit down and have a conversation with Nick and John Lennox. It's an excellent podcast, and I highly recommend you check it out. If you go to CanaryCry.Party and scroll down, you can listen to the episode right there on CanaryCry.Party. But also make sure to subscribe everywhere. And there you go. Go do it, folks. Not now, but do it after this episode.
Yeah, go to our Clips channel, too. Subscribe to the Clips channel, where you can find all the snippets of all the segments of what we do clipped up so that you don't have to sit through hours and hours of show. You can just find it by topic, and it's a great resource. So go do that.
Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey.
Yep. Okay. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
We're taking things that are genetically modified organisms and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein, right into the vein, right into the vein, right into the vein.
Axios reports here, Bill Gates predicts climate tech winter.
Oh, another prediction from this guy, huh?
This is full of predictions. If there ever was a modern prophet that is being sort of peddled out there. This is a pretty short article. Let me run through it real quick. A coming macroeconomic winter will hurt investor activity in emerging climate technology areas, Bill Gates told TechCrunch Sessions in Berkeley on Tuesday. Climate technology areas. Why it matters. The impending storm that Gates predicts will stall the momentum currently running through the industry or halt its progress altogether. Is he talking about a physical storm, or is he talking about like a metaphorical
dark
storm?
Winter? Like a cyber pandemic mixed with dark winter?
Yeah, very weird. Context. Gates founded Breakthrough Energy, a climate change-focused organization that includes a fellowship program, startup incubator, and venture arm. It has $2 billion assets under management and invests with a 20-year return target as opposed to a typical VC life cycle of 5 to 10 years. Oh, yeah. Jump on this boat with me, fellas and ladies.
Take a while.
20 years with Bill Gates, and you shall see your riches grow.
Yeah.
Driving the news. Gates spoke to a packed auditorium at the University of California, Berkeley on Tuesday about the challenges facing early-stage startups addressing climate change. He sees Breakthrough Energy's role, that's his company, as a catalyst, of course, among more traditional venture investors that are hesitant to back technology that hasn't yet been proven or commercialized. And it's starting to sound more like ESG. The changing macroeconomic cycle, which Gates says is changing, quote, as rapidly as any in his lifetime, will scare off investors that Breakthrough is targeting. What they are saying, quote, we will go through a winter period for a number of years, Gates says of the macroeconomic outlook. Quote, we will have, like in 2001, where the valuations were too high and will now go to the other extreme. The question is, can we still catalyze capital in these things that are unproven, Gates says. I don't know, Basil. With the way the economy's looking, with the way all the talk about a great reset, you know, the thing that I don't think people recognize about the Great Reset is that people, you know, they're sort of calling it out and saying like, oh, look at these evil plan or whatever. But the reality of what could happen is way, way, way worse than like, or what we think can happen. You know what I mean? It's kind of like COVID, where it's like, oh yeah, they'll never do a whole shutdown and an epidemic.
Right.
It's you know, it's hard to believe that it'll happen, and then it happened, right? So
totally,
I think this is very much similar in that these prophets of doom of modern secularism or whatever are such as Bill Gates is out there saying, oh, we're going to go through a climate tech winter for several years. It's going to get really ugly. It's going to be like 2001, where the dot-com bubble popped.
Right.
You know, and again, we've been seeing this theme of, hey, pop the bubble, pick our winners. And that's pretty much what's happening. And Bill Gates plans to be at the forefront of that because, you know, he comes from this prior world where he's made all his money. He wants to make sure that his legacy stays intact, I'm sure. Yeah. So we'll see that happening. But also, what are they really planning? Like, what level of bad is this going to get? And I think our next story sort of touches on where things might be headed. Do you got anything to say about this before we move on?
No, except for, I think you're, I mean, this is a very sort of dire warning. I think it's interesting, the reference, like I kind of mentioned, he's referencing, you know, Biden's dark winter from the pandemic,
right,
and Klaus Schwab's cyber pandemic.
Yeah.
But also, like you said, the ESG movement. He's basically saying, you know, ESG investment is going to slow down our journey, our quest to create technologies and fund, you know, things that will save the earth is going to slow down. This is very sad. But there's a little bit of subtext here, which is like, hey, but listen to what I'm saying. Prices are going, you know, valuations are going to be low. You're going to make a ton of money. It's just going to take a little while. But the forecast for this period that we're moving into, which I think very much kind of ties into the interesting concept of the Pope being like, hey, this is not on accident. which he refers to the Ukraine crisis. I think this is Bill Gates kind of doing the same thing. Like, hey, this is not on accident, but it creates a lot of potential to make a lot of money. So come give your money to old Daddy Gates.
That's the other thing is there are no guarantees that Bill Gates will make it out of this. This is sort of a bloodbath war, kind of a macroeconomic. I don't know. Battle's not. It's too soft of a word. It's like a. I don't know.
An apocalypse.
It's an apocalypse. It truly is.
It's a revealing. It's an unveiling with all the scariness that comes along with that. So just notable that he's making this a part of his, visible public message.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
Now suck your blood.
Politics.
Okay, time to get into it. Yes, along the same lines, Gonz, this was a very interesting find, and this comes from mvtimes.com. MV, like kind of MTV, mvtimes.com. And I believe this is Martha's Vineyard Times.com. Is this correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And which is interesting. You may know Martha's Vineyard being sort of the one of the most elite geographical areas. All the presidents live there. All the business people have places there. All the politicians, they get places there. And MV Times seems to be a bit of kind of like a news organization.
It's kind of like a bloggy.
Well, it's almost like an HOA newsletter.
Right, yeah.
They report on things going on in Martha's Vineyard. Some of the articles are kind of like, they're almost like as if you're part of an HOA and they send you those letters to tell you like how the vote went and how the landscaping upgrade is going and how that kind of stuff. And one of these here is what I just mentioned. The headline is Memorial Wharf Construction Still Not Completed. So a little update on Memorial Wharf in Martha's Vineyard. And it kind of starts out, the Edgartown Select Board was provided with an update on the Memorial Wharf construction, which was expected to be completed by Memorial Day, but has experienced delays. And it's kind of giving an update to, some of the projects in the area. They mention the board. It's kind of like, your HOA board or whatever, your licensing board for the area. But there's an interesting paragraph in here after talking about the wharf going, taking longer than expected. Then there's like a budget problem with, something going on the island. And then there's this little paragraph right here. The select board approved a request for a 2,500-gallon commercial propane tank for 79 Turkeyland Cove Road in Katama, owned by former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. Quote, "We've never had a private propane tank come to us," said Select Board member Arthur Smadbeck, with Select Board member Michael Donorama noting a private residence propane tank is typically a fraction of the quantity being requested. Additional personnel appointments were made, and it just goes on some other neighborhood business. And this little paragraph in here just mentioning that, the Obamas are putting in a 2,500-gallon commercial propane
tank
for their residents. Now, for those who are
why would they do that?
Why would they do that? For those who are on propane, maybe you're off the grid, or maybe you're in a neighborhood that this is something that your residences have. The normal propane tank size for a residence is 500 gallons. Just that normal little pill-looking tank that are outside some houses. 2,500 gallons, that's 5 times bigger. It's a commercial propane tank for the residents of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Could it be that they are possibly preparing for some sort of, energy crisis or energy problem that they're prepping? Is Barack Obama a prepper?
I tend to think maybe they know something that we don't.
Seems that way, doesn't it? So what are the Obamas getting ready for, where they put in a almost 3,000 gallon commercial propane tank in their residence? I think it's just another clue as to what even the elites are expecting in the next few years.
I'm looking at this little thing here, just trying to figure out how long a 2,500 gallon commercial tank would last. And just a quick Google, actually it's not Google, but it's all the internets here doing a little search. It says a 500 gallon propane tank can last anywhere from 1 month and 23 days to 14 months and 4 days, which is a very huge range.
Depends what you use it for.
I was going to say, it depends on what you use it for. In the case of, let's say, max use, 500 gallon propane tank lasts almost 2 months. Let's call it a month and a half.
That's very short, though.
It's super short, right?
You're cranking your propane if you're using 500 gallons.
If you're the Obamas, you gotta keep the whole ship running.
But you could easily, if you're just using it for a little bit of heating and a little bit of cooking, you could stretch it out to a year. Half a year to a year is normal, I think.
So that worries me, because the range here is somewhere a 2,500 gallon commercial propane tank would mean, but it's somewhere in the ballpark of, at the shortest, we're talking 6 months, right? Or
that's
more than that. At the most,
definitely be significantly more.
At the most, we're talking like 6-7 years.
It could possibly 2,500 gallons of propane could last someone, especially if they're in like a situation where they are conserving, if it is some sort of energy apocalypse. I mean, 2,500 gallons could last you 5 to 10 years if you're,
it's a long time
if you're diligent about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. Now, do you have anything else from this article that you wanted to mention?
No.
Okay, so this article, the reason why we were able to find this article was because it was linked from WorldNet Daily and WND.com. And they had the headline here, "Are the Obamas prepping for the apocalypse?"
Ah, love it.
Mm-hmm. And it goes through here and talks about the tank and, again, provides the source. But there's a little paragraph in here that I thought was very interesting that was highlighted, and now it's not because, internet, everything, cyber pandemic, nothing works. Let's see. Where was it? Clean stuff. Okay, so all this being considered, what are the Obamas up to? According to Joel Gilbert's dazzling new film, Michelle Obama 2024, the Obamas and their globalist friends, remember this is WND, globalist friends are grooming Michelle to be elected or perhaps appointed president in 2024. I recently got a sneak peek of the film, which Gilbert will premiere at the National Press Club in Washington in mid-July. Gilbert makes a convincing case that the puppeteers who orchestrated Obama's ascent are prepared to do the same for Michelle, come hell or high water. Although the Islanders are currently raising the memorial wharf on the vineyard in anticipation of the promised rise in sea levels, hell is much more likely to visit America before high water. Oh, thanks, WND. I really appreciate it. But this idea of Michelle, I know it's not new, obviously. This is like an old kind of thing that's been floating out there. But the more time goes on and the more we watch sort of the allowance of Biden to stumble and fail and having the Democrats turn on Biden, which we've seen a lot of recently, this Michelle Obama thing in 2024, I think, is in serious play. And I got a couple reasons for it.
It makes a lot of sense.
It makes a whole lot of sense. And I got a couple reasons for it, too. First off, this was very popular the last few days. This is CNN Politics. Ocasio-Cortez won't commit to backing Biden in 2024. Quote, "We'll cross that bridge when we get to it." And this clip went viral. We don't have to play the clip necessarily. She basically was asked by Dana Bash about supporting Biden in 2024, and I think she responded. Is this her response here? She said, "I think if the president has a vision, then that's something certainly we're all willing to entertain and examine when the time comes." Ocasio-Cortez, a Democrat who wields a significant amount of influence over the party's progressive wing, told CNN's Dana Bash on State of the Union when asked if she plans to support Biden in his 2024 re-election bid. Quote, That's not a yes, Bash said. We maybe should have clipped it because it was a kind of a fun moment there. To which the Congresswoman replied, quote, "We should endorse when we get to it. But I believe that the president's been doing a very good job so far. And, should he run again? I think that well, take a look at it."
No, you don't. You don't think he's been doing a good job.
"But right now, we need to focus on winning a majority instead of a presidential election," she added, referring to the midterms. So there's some, I don't know, this seems like a little rumbling in that direction. Because if not Joe, then who would they support?
Well, this is very wise of her because the progressives especially are really not fans of Biden.
Well, then they got hammered in this last couple years too, because they thought their sort of followers thought that they were getting a lot more progressive politics with Biden, and they haven't gotten that. So I'm sure, but that could possibly be part of the setup too. If they want to go more progressive, you got to take you got to get hit, kind of like the economy. But so that's something to keep in mind and keep an eye on. And then there's this story, which is sort of, I don't know, this is more speculation on my part. But NPR reported Russia extends Brittany Griner's detention until at least July 2nd. And, they keep extending the hostage situation, so to speak, of Brittany Griner, the WNBA player, the first openly gay athlete that's been sponsored by Nike and all this kind of stuff. Trapped in Russia. She had some hashish on her or something like that.
She had a vape pen. Cannabis vape pen.
And so she's detained and she's still there apparently. And I just thought, wouldn't it be great? And it's kind of hard timing wise. I don't know that they can keep her under Russian whatever for here until 2024. But just, maybe as a sort of potential here, what if Michelle Obama steps up and negotiates with Putin? And they're able to make some kind of deal, release Brittany Griner. Then you have sort of not just a progressive thing, but you have Michelle Obama, who would be the first female president who is also black, who is, there's so many things. And then she saves the black gay athlete out of Russia, out of the clutches of the religious right, Putin, bad people. There's just a whole lot of setup here that makes it seemed like the Michelle Obama thing is really in play. So just a couple things to look at. I'm not saying that's going to happen.
It's an interesting theory and an interesting strategy for sure.
Yeah,
and makes total sense. I mean, totally not out of the question.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on
the Obamas have done a great job of keeping themselves at the forefront of Democratic popularity.
Right. And I did look into sort of the sentiment of the idea of Michelle Obama becoming president in the last few months to a year. And the only context that I really found, worth mentioning is that there was a bunch of articles about will Barack Obama run again in 2024? And they're most of them are like, oh, he can't because, presidents can only serve 8 years. And then you got people like, you should change that, Obama for life. And it's like, wow, people really want a king, huh? But then there was The Guardian back in February of this year, and the headline was Republicans fear Michelle Obama presidential run, ex-Trump aide says. So there's already been a little bit of rumblings there. And then Newsweek back in December of 2021, Michelle Obama for president, what polls say about her 2024 chances, which is really useless. It really was just more of a, hey, is she popular? And yeah, the polls show that, yes, she's popular and that she would do very well if she did run. So it's all kind of being teed up for that.
Yeah, I totally see it.
Yep. We have a quick Coeur d'Alene update. Did you want to run through this real quick?
I guess, yeah. I was kind of reading through it, trying to figure out what the angle was on here. But this comes from idahotribune.org.
Yes.
And the headline is Local Coeur d'Alene White Lives Matter group affiliated with Patriot Front leaked chat reveals celebration after LGBT event. Just LGBT, huh?
Yeah, the subheadline says they're anti-Christian, anti-conservative, and they're here in North Idaho.
Yeah.
Which is the group, the Patriot Front. They're allegedly anti-Christian and anti-conservative, which is the opposite of what we are led to believe.
Are you sure? I thought that was a quote from this White Lives Matter group. talking about someone else. Well, let's read. Let's find out. While residents of Coeur d'Alene were met... Now, this is from IdahoTribune.org, which is an interesting outlet. It does seem to have some pretty
conservative leanings.
Serious conservative...
Right-wing,
right-wing leanings, but they're also reporting on this Patriot Front story. I don't know much else about this outlet, so if anybody has any more information, let us know. While residents of Coeur d'Alene were met by a surprise appearance by Patriot Front over the weekend. That's an interesting way to
surprise appearance. Surprise! Like clowns coming out of a car instead of it's a
we're here in our U-Haul
with the white masks.
Mm-hmm. Those arrested told a story of 31 young men with little to no connection to North Idaho. However, the local group known as White Lives Matter tells a different story. The Idaho Tribune recently reported on the extremist group White Lives Matter after they had dropped a banner over a highway pass in Post Falls. Along with the banner, one individual with the group held up a white pride flag towards the passing cars below. And they have a picture here, White Lives Matter. Then they give some sort of, I don't even know what I'm looking at here, some sort of URL or eme.wlm.
Oh, it must be the
USA
Telegram
Idaho
or something.
Yeah, you're right. Holding this white pride flag, which is not very subtle, I'll tell you that. It
White Pride worldwide.
Yeah, it just literally says White Pride worldwide on it. While news of Patriot Front distracted local residents from sexualized drag queen performances in front of children, another group local to Coeur d'Alene flew under the radar. The relatively small group consists of cells nationwide. Oh, that's not a great way to describe it. That's this is sort of terrorist descriptions there, so maybe it is. I don't know. With only a handful of members in Idaho, the group travels throughout the state holding banners while in a uniform of ski masks and combat boots. This is a tweet from White Lives Matter official. White Lives Matter Idaho activists dropped the banner in Post Falls to commemorate the first year anniversary of the White Lives Matter official activism effort. They were met with resounding praise by the community and left without incident. While many believe Atomwaffen to have disbanded after numerous arrests, the group, whose main focus was to, quote, attack the power grid and, quote, bring society to its knees, may have affiliations with the blossoming White Lives Matter group here in Idaho. A Boise, Idaho cell of Atomwaffen was taken down by law enforcement after it was revealed the terrorist group had been planning, quote, power grid attacks in the southern part of the state. Many commentators online seem to believe these connections are real. Leaked chat room conversations from the White Lives Matter Telegram chat reveal cautionary preparations leading up to the weekend, wherein members discussed bringing masks to conceal their identities. Maybe they're just being COVID sensitive. Who knows? Following the disastrous events over the weekend, the White Lives Matter... that is a weird way to describe the Patriot Front arrest as disastrous events. The White Lives Matter group posted a celebratory video. In the video, you see 5 members of the group simply holding a banner while unhinged liberals and LGBT weirdos shout. The White Lives Matter. That's what I'm saying about this outlet, man. It's kind of like confusing. The White Lives Matter group consists of members who self-declare as non-Christian pagans and openly mock conservatives and Christians within their online chat rooms. Okay, you're right, Gonz. White Lives Matter, anti-Christian, whatever. The group, which is reportedly planning major demonstrations in the area, openly affiliates with Patriot Front and could have more devious connections to allegedly disbanded groups such as Atomwaffen, while outsider groups, including LGBT drag queens, Patriot Front, Satanists, and neo-pagans, descended upon North Idaho, turning our home into a national spectacle. The group White Lives Matter continues to recruit locally in preparation for their next major demonstration.
And it says the author here is Johnston Meadows of this article. I'm an author, a Christian, and a loving husband and father. So there you go.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? As we've seen over the past couple years, the oversimplification and identification of basically two groups in the United States. You got the Christian conservatives and you got the secular liberals, and those are the only two groups, and nothing is more complicated than that. And it's a very useful and effective control mechanism, and easy for you to understand, doesn't leave you scratching your head, lets you know who the enemy is, and is very good at mobilizing and motivating different groups to act in certain ways from the top down, starting with the elites, political and financial elites who want to keep the sort of social wars, culture wars, off of the topic of classism or classist issues, and more on what some might consider more petty issues. And they've been very effective. Yeah. And it takes a local, Idaho outlet to completely confuse and destroy that narrative. You've got the Patriot Front where you just kind of assume they're Christians and racist and things like that, and a lot of that certainly seems to be close to the truth, although there was no religious undertones to their literature that we covered last episode. This one is just like, there's White Lives Matter, and they're pagans, and they hate Christians, and they're anti-conservative, which I guess means they're. The assumption is that they're liberal, but they're obviously not liberal if they're against LGBT things. So I think this is a wonderful example of how local news can actually report on stuff going on that does not easily fit into a constructed narrative that is useful for the elites. And even the confusion that I feel reading this is sort of a signal to that.
This is just based on observation on my part, so please don't take this the wrong way. Not you personally, but just out there.
Sure.
But I've noticed that the movement towards a more, it's not I wouldn't consider it like racist white supremacy, but more of a nuanced sort of, hey, us white people from Europe, we are allowed to preserve our culture too, like that kind of narrative. I guess it's sort of a, would you call it populist maybe? So
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? There's that sentiment, I suppose, of, hey, white people should unite, or people are being, genocide, all this kind of stuff. It wasn't coming from Christians a lot of times.
Right,
it comes it does come from a more secular, kind of a sometimes even pagan sort of background. So that is really the facts, but then when you see the mainstream, they just lump all of those people as Christians or as right-wing extremists or whatever. So it makes it really confusing for the general public. But in reality, the people that are really all about this sort of white pride kind of thing are mostly like pagans, which is
exactly.
That is so crazy, but not talked about.
You've got a lot of the white supremacist groups. They actually identify specifically as pagan, and a lot of them specifically as, Norse.
Norse, yes. And somebody mentioned
Norse types.
All Eyes Will See in the chat says Red Ice narrative yucky poo. Red Ice was one of those places that they were a lot more like coast to coast. They're doing a lot of like UFO stuff and Fringe and all that kind of thing. And then
they used to be sort of like, we used to kind of look at them as
like
colleagues
they had
almost.
Their stuff was polished. It was really nice. They talked about all that. And then they really went hard in on the, hey, they're trying to kill all white people narrative. Right. Which, again, you have the right to report and sort of take positions on anything you want.
Analyze,
that's I'm for free speech. So it's like, okay, if you want to talk about that, please feel free to do so. I'm not saying that they can't or shouldn't talk about it, but it's just fascinating how in the media it's just a complete different way they paint the picture. So,
well, it's not very convenient, is it? Because, if you've got a large group of straight up white supremacists and they are claiming to be pagan, that's not very convenient for like the liberal Wiccans and the popularity of, witchcraft or witch talk, or, the pagans on the other side.
Well, that's the thing too. There's pagans who are against the whole LGBTQ thing because they see it as a, sort of an extermination thing. And it's like, they're trying to end, our civilization by depopulating us with the whole gay agenda. So they're sort of on board with weird stuff that, not weird, but just things that are, it's like a mixed bag of stuff that's not being reported accurately in the mainstream, which is why I think most people will be confused when they start looking into this a little more.
I mean, it's a great deconstruction, and it's a poignant fact, which is that it's inconvenient for the control narrative to state the reality that much of the white supremacist culture is rooted in, pagan religiosity and not Christian. Yeah. But, that doesn't work very well for the Democrats, so you don't hear about it very much.
We made too many movies with the token white guy as the religious nut who wants to blow everybody up.
Well, and to be fair, it's also useful to the Republican narrative too. Not to point out just one side of the coin, as far as the false paradigm of the left-right paradigm, which of course we try our best to deconstruct here on an episode basis, that the idea, the ignoring of the pagan racists is actually good for Republicans too, because it, in the same way that the left loves to count up victim points, the right does similar things too, which is, hey, they think we're all racists, and we know we're not, but can you believe that they just keep lying about this? It's like a very useful lie for both sides.
It's the lies are useful for both sides.
And it's all based on victimhood as sort of the basic economic unit of that narrative. The left can say, oh, the right's racist, that makes us victims, and the right says, hey, they're all lying and saying that we're racist, so that makes us victims. So everybody's victims here. It's the currency of the time. Well, okay, thank you very much, Idaho Tribune there, you beautiful, confusing, weird little outlet.
Speaking of currency,
that's right, folks. Time to take a little break. We're going to thank some producers. And I said producers, you heard that right, because we are on the value for value model. No corporate influence, no corporate money, no advertisements, no subtle psychological manipulations based on your trust placed in your favorite podcasters in order to get you to spend money that you don't have on things you don't need. Meanwhile, handing over the power, the keys to your attention to corporate lizard people who wish to use it for their own personal gain. No, none of that, folks. We also are on the value for value model. It's very simple, where the basic economic unit is not victimhood, but indeed it's value. If you get any value out of what we do here, when we create value 3 times a week, we try our very hardest at it. You can get value through all of our resources, our communities, the art made available, the sources in your email box. All these things are our attempts to provide as much value to your life as possible. And that can come in different forms. It might just be entertainment, might be some sort of intellectual honesty or stability that you're not getting anywhere else. It might be windows into the schemes of the mainstream narrative communication strategies. It could be a lot of things. But whatever value you get, some might say you have a responsibility to participate in the value for value model. Not just because Gonz and I are trying to get rich or whatever. Trust me, value for value system is not the way to get rich. But it is a way to be able to sleep at night, even if you're a child and your ducks are screaming in the garage, Gonz. But can you imagine how hard it would be to sleep, Gonz, on top of everything you're dealing with, if on top of all that, you were gathering up the
trust. Guilty conscience that every dollar that I spend on the duck food and The baby diapers is based on a lie.
A lie selling the trust of our listeners to corporations. That would be much harder. But for us, so the value is not just coming from us to you. It's not just coming from you back into the show to keep the show going, but every piece of value you put into this show also gets distributed to the rest of the listeners. I mean, just an enormous web of value being distributed throughout the world through this system. And we're very happy with it. We're very proud of it. And literally personally proud of the producers. I haven't said that in a while, but there's something about every single producer that comes in, whether they're on a monthly subscription or they come in, for individual shows. I literally will stop and just be like, wow, this person gets it. They're taking responsibility for the future of the independent media that they value. It's not nothing, folks. It is really a powerful thing to do, not just in sort of a philosophical sense, but we also believe in a spiritual sense, because every participation in the value for value model is a brick in the wall defending this show and shows like this from the onslaught of the corporate sort of targeting of independent media, whether that be through value manipulation by tricking them into advertising, etc., or by labeling them, crazy fringe, weird outlets that sell, male enhancement pills or whatever. So anyways, those who participate in the value for value model with their time, their talent, or their treasure, there's all sorts of ways to do it. They're called producers, and we want to thank them now. If you want to become a producer, there's a lot of ways to do that. But if you want to do it financially, which we very much appreciate and is required for a lot of reasons, head on over to patreon.com/CCNT or CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
That's right. And we're going to start off by thanking our executive producers, Gonz.
Executive producers.
That's right. Like I said before, the executive producers are people who are coming in tough, man. They support the show in an extremely generous way. And, I've been very, very touched by the consistency of executive producers over the past, basically this month. I think we've had a wonderful flow of people realizing that we need the executive producers. And we are going to thank them now, starting with, of course, Sir Redbeard, Pirate King of the D-Moochers.
Thank you very much, Sir Redbeard. Good to
That's
see
right.
you. Thank you.
And he is the Pirate King of the D-Moochers, so we got to demooch him.
Good thing he's got tough skin.
He loves it. Thank you, Sir Redbeard. And Sir Redbeard comes in with $230.30, 23030.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And a note that says, "Oi, mateys, is a Gonz becoming a pirate? His recent pronunciation from Friday of R. Mario had me rolling." I had to give you a hard time about it. It's Amarillo. Or Amarillo. LOL. Much love, guys. God bless. Thank you very much, Sir Redbeard. Pirate King of the D-Moochers. Yeah, that occurred to me while you were doing it. And
really?
I just let you roll with it. We don't need to be correcting each other all the time.
I don't know if it's like a real mild form of dyslexia or if it's ESL, English as a second language thing, or lack of sleep. It's one of the two, or maybe
could be
one
all
of the three.
three.
Or I was going to say a combination of all three coming together. But yes, Amarillo.
Amarillo, I believe.
Okay, because when I saw the word, I thought armadillo. I think that's probably the issue.
I think it's funny. It's almost always some town in Texas that we're having trouble with. Although Coeur d'Alene took you a couple episodes.
Yeah, it did. But once I got it, I got it. So that's it. And a lot of those Russian places have some rough names too. Yeah.
Thank you, executive producer Sir Redbeard, Pirate King of the D-Moochers.
Thank you very much.
And next up,
where'd you find this?
Next up, came in during the show. Thank you very much. It is executive producer Felicia D.
Thank you, Felicia D.
No, nothing. Nice round number, which is a time to remind y'all that we always lean in the direction of anonymity. So if you come in with a round number, then we don't read the amount, keeping it anonymous for you. If you don't mind us reading the amount, you just add something funky in there, make it a weird number. An easy one is adding 33 cents or something like that. But thank you very much, executive producer Felicia D.
Where'd you find this?
And let's just play the supply drop jingle. We're going to just move quickly.
Supply drop.
That's right, CanaryCry.Supply.com. Go there now, CanaryCry.Supply.com. Sign up to support the show in the amount of $33.33 a month. That's just $2.77 per episode. And we'll also send you 4 packages a year filled with custom-created, producer-produced, artist-designed, made in America, Canary Cry news talk swag, merchandise, cool stuff. This supply drop is heading out pretty soon. We got the Canary Cry News Talk Challenge coin, the Tweet Hungry Boys apron, and soon we'll be announcing a promo for those who have been thinking about signing up but haven't quite done it yet. You should go sign up now at CanaryCry.Supply.com.
Waiting for supply drop.
Oh, those NFTs are coming, by the way, too. I'm working on that email to all the supply droppers.
Coming fast.
Yep.
All right, we got some producers here to thank, and we're just going to zoom right through. Starting, Gonz, with Melinda, not Gates.
Hey! Love it.
This was a name that I actually bestowed upon this producer, and you'll see why in a second. They came in with $33.33 plus fees. The note that says, "Hey guys, this is Billy, not Gates's wife." So see, we could have just called her Billy, not Gates's wife, but I thought Melinda, not Gates was fun. Although I am a monthly producer, I wanted to show some extra support today. Thank you both for all that you do to keep us in the know and sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ while at it. Well, thank you very much, Billy, not Gates's wife, aka Melinda, not Gates. We appreciate that very much, and I think that's a wonderful what's the word? Example to set. She's set up, she supports on a monthly basis, but was just inspired by the work lately and the value she received to come in and support the show.
Oh, appreciate that. No, really, it means a lot too, because sometimes just being on this end of it, it does at times, I know this isn't true, but at times it feels like, wow, we really nailed a topic or whatever. But it doesn't feel like, we don't get a lot of feedback per se. People saying, "Oh, that was a great breakdown." So we'll say, "Oh, okay, well, I guess it'll be out there on the
Hopefully
Clips channel.
Somebody cared about it.
And it'll be 2750 in some dystopic future where they discover our material." And
and conversely, there are definitely times where we finish a show and we went, "Well, you can't win them all."
That's more often than not, for sure. Yeah.
Well, which makes the good ones even better.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Melinda
Not Gates.
Next up, we've got producer Morv on a 103 episode streak coming in with the 11 o'clock.
Oh yeah!
Man, thank you so much.
11.
All right, and a very simple note that says, "It's WMD."
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
Is Wednesday. Next up, we've got Sir James, Knight and Servant of the Lion of Judah. And today, Gon's big day. Sir James hits 100 episodes in a row.
Ooh.
Yeah, baby.
Oh yeah!
Man, thank you so much.
11.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sir James Knight and Servant of the Lion of Judah. We do count streaks on this show if you're new to the show. And Sir James has supported the show for 100 episodes in a row. Let's see, we do about 12 episodes a month, which means Sir James has been supporting for about 10 months, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah, sounds about right. Thank you, Sir James. Sir James came in with $11.11 and $3.33. So a couple times. Thank you very much, Sir James. And he sends a note here. 100th donation. Please give me a jingle mix to cheer me up. May God continue to bless this family. And of course, we'd love to give you a jingle mix. We are still praying for you, Sir James. I know times are tough right now. Wild things are happening in your life over there, which makes it even more touching that you continue to support the show. And we hope to support you with the value from the show, but also keeping you on our minds and in our prayers. So you got a fun mix for Sir James here?
Let's do it.
Vaccination.
I got COVID. Ivermectin. All kinds of meds. Ivermectin. Everything. Ivermectin. Boom, he took ivermectin.
Aborted feces. Screw your freedom.
Are you even woke?
Nice. That was a good one. Thanks, Sir James. Next up, we've got producer Brother G.
Brother G
coming in with a pocket full of sevens and fees and a note. Brother G here attempting to ascend from moocher to producer. Ooh. Let's demooch him, baby. Thank you very much, producer Brother G, and congratulations on the demooching. If you're new to the show, of course, with the first time you produce the show, we go ahead and demooch you. It's fun. We're all having fun here, but it's a big step in every producer's life. The note continues, love the show. God bless. P.S. I've sent art as well. Let me know what you think and need to help grow the show. Well, we love that. I will say, Brother G, I did not see any art from you, so I'm not sure where that got sent, or maybe I'm not looking for the right name or something, but go ahead and email that to us again, if you could, at CanaryCry.Radio@gmail.com. But thank you for your support, Brother G. Next up, we've got producer bot LX Protocol V2 on a 44-episode streak.
Ooh, 44.
Mm-hmm. Coming in with a pocket full of sevens and a note that says, thank you and have a blessed day. Thank you, LX Protocol V2.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we got Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch on a 115-episode streak.
Yeah!
Yeah, thank you so much.
1001. Amen.
Yep, comes in with the 1001 and a note. It is WMD.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
The note continues, and it is hot, like 100 degrees, and feels like 108. Drink lots of water, Canarians. Yeah, heat wave across the country there.
Yeah.
Has it been hot down there?
No, not really.
Okay.
It's been nice.
Yeah, it was really, really hot for about a week, and then has been actually kind of chilly the past couple days, but it's heating up today. Thank you, Sir JC.
Thank you, Sir JC.
Next up, we got producer James M on a 3-episode streak, which means James M is heating up.
Hey, why didn't my thing go off? There it is.
He's heating up.
There you go.
Pocket full of sevens says, I think you added an extra day on my streak. Oh, okay. I don't want to take undue credit. Love you guys. Well, okay. We're going to look into that. And
Not
thank
on
you.
a streak?
Oh, I forgot about that one. Do it again.
Not on a streak?
This is an interesting tone on that one. Thank you, James M. Next up, we got Gail M. And Gail M today hits 133 episodes in a row.
Oh my gosh. Oh, they call him the streak. We gotta.
Women rule.
We need something.
2022 Gonz. Anything can happen.
What?
I said it's 2022. Anything can
sure.
happen.
You're right.
Thank you, Gail M., for the pocket full of sevens. Congratulations on becoming the streak at 133 episodes in a row. Streakers coming in hard this episode. Thank you so much. And a note here. Hey, streak sister Veronica D. We hit streak number 133, and there's something fun in the grab bag from me. Yippee!
Yeah, and she made it rhyme
nice.
too. That's very cute.
Yeah, sounds like Veronica D is getting a special grab bag from Gail from Gail's Gratitude Grab Bag.
All right.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Okay. That concludes the list of financial producers who came in with a pocket full of sevens or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. But we got a few more to thank that came in under that amount. We'll do that now. Let's start with the streak sister, Veronica D, who just hit 133 episodes in a row.
Her.
Women rule.
Thank you very much, Veronica D. Next up, we got Darren S. is back on a 7-episode streak. Doing it, Darren.
Thank you, Darren S.
Then we got Sir Scott Knight of Truth with 158 episodes.
Wow. This thing is very slow responding today. Okay.
And, of course, we got Sir Casey the Shield Knight on 168 episodes in a row.
That's Sir Casey the Streak Setter.
Yeah, killing it. Streaking forever. He's been streaking as long as we've been counting streaks. Very impressive. And that concludes our list of financial producers, which we are very grateful for keeping this show going. And remember, folks, if you want to join this elite squadron of producers who help come in, keep the show going financially, we could not do it without them. You can head on over to CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on.
What happened?
We got to move. Is he talking to me?
No,
He talking to me?
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
That's right. And thank you all for your patronage. Oh, we got a baby. We got a baby wandering around back there. Okay. Well, thank you for your patronage.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message.
Beep. Message. That's right. You can leave us a message by going to CanaryCryNewsTalk.com. There's a green tab on the side somewhere. Click on that. You can leave us a message. You're giving us permission to play it on the show, but it's not guaranteed. Any voicemails today, Gonzo?
We got a couple of them. The first one is from Polly.
Hey,
Polly.
Polly. I know these last few years have been difficult, and right now it's difficult, but I want to introduce some joy in this family. Let's start with this. Romans 15:13. May God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with the hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. James 1:2-3. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. What is perseverance? Doing something despite difficulty. Yeah, in achieving success. What's our success? He's coming back, people. We're going to win. Proverbs 10:28. The prospect of the righteous is joy, but the hope of the wicked comes to nothing. Nothing. Bada boom, bada bang. And what is prospect? The likelihood of future events occurring. What's occurring in the future? Jesus is coming back. He's going to save us from this crap. I'm a poet. Didn't even know it. Anyway, read the scriptures, people. Let's get some joy in this family. We need it, huh?
Thank you very much, Polly.
Thanks, Polly.
Polly reading scripture is always something about the accent and the enthusiasm just really comes through. Thank you, Polly.
Yeah, I've been looking at some more mafia history stuff. There was an interview that was done with a guy that was like one of the top mafia guys. I'm trying to remember his name. And he talked about Epstein. And he was talking about how Epstein's a scum and all this kind of stuff.
Ooh, fun.
Disgusting scum and all that. But thank you very much, Paulie. The mafia guys, they had more integrity than a lot of these elite criminals of today, comparatively.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Killed with honor.
It sounded like you said criminals, but I know you said politicians.
Yeah, well, it's the same word there.
Come on.
Okay, so thank you very much, Paulie. We got one from Rochelle.
Happy Wednesday. This is a warning to anyone still sitting on the fence, because the devil owns the fence. And I apologize, guys. I got a terrible cold. I am the way, the truth, and the life. You should know by now what's wrong from right. Don't you think I smell when you kiss and tell? You should know by now there is a hell. Don't you think I know? You've ignored my woe. You should know by now why the four winds blow. Don't you think I've tried, conquered death and died, covered up for sin to make you my bride? Don't you think I save? Children, be brave, conspire against me. I bloody up the sea. I am the way, the truth, and the life. You should know by now to pick up that knife. It's time to cut the cord. My word is your sword. It's time to get this right. The saints have come to fight. I am the door. I am the key. I am the way of prophecy. I am the way back to the garden.
Thank you very much, Rochelle. Wonderfully done.
Well done, as always.
So beautiful.
Yep.
Okie dokie. Is that all?
That's it.
Okay, let's wake on up. We are going to be covering some things that is too hot for YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, head on over to CanaryCry.Party. Choose one of our other outlets, DLive, Twitch, Odyssey, somewhere over there, Rumble, of course. And you can catch the rest of the show there.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Go to Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. You can find all those links at CanaryCry.Party as well. Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube.
Now you see me. Now you don't.
Here we go.
Okay. Get our little timer onto the next thing here. And there we go. Time for some COVID.
I hit the button before you even started talking.
Whoa.
And I'm waiting for it to play. There it is.